Hello, my name is Deborah Wheatley, and this is for NOS 130. This is my assignment for Windows File and Folders Permissions. Just a little bit of history about the different types of file storage systems. There are three main different types, although there are lots of different file storage systems out there. But these three main ones work on most all of our operating systems, and they are FAT, FAT32, and NTFS. FAT is the oldest file system. It stands for File Allocation Tables, and it's the oldest file system. Was introduced in the 1980s. It worked well for computer users in the beginning, but computer usage and needs grew quickly, and soon a revision was needed to handle the growth of data storage and retrieval. FAT32 was introduced as an upgrade from FAT. The biggest change was that now the filing system could handle file sizes up to 4 GB. The latest filing system to be introduced was NTFS, which stands for New Technology Filing System. It added many more improvements to the system, such as encryption, which is encrypting your files to keep them from being accessed by unauthorized users, file compression, which saves space, and better security. NTFS is used by Windows NT, 2000, XP, Vista, and Windows 7. It is also used by Windows Server 2003 and 2008. Files and folders can be stored in your computer using your file system. This computer uses the NTFS. What system are you using? Well, you can find out by looking at the properties of your operating system. So, let's go out of this and we'll check, and I'll show you mine. Go to computer. Here is my C drive, and if I right click, go down to properties, you can see the file system is NTFS, and we're on the general tab. Let me OK this, and then we'll look at the F drive, which is an external hard drive that we have. Go down to properties, and the file system is FAT32. So we actually have both. We have two of the file systems on our computer in different places. Okay, now we'll go back to the PowerPoint. How do they work? Well, you can create a file by building a spreadsheet in Excel or writing a story in Word or many other ways. But let's say you've created something. Now you want to save it so you can find it again. Well, it's just like organizing a filing cabinet. If you just throw everything in with no kind of order, then you're not going to be able to find it again. But if you save it with like information in a folder inside that filing cabinet, then you can find it. Well, there are folders on each drive in the computer, so you save your files and your spreadsheets and whatever else you have, you save it in a folder on a drive. And I've created a file on the C drive as an example. So let's go back out and we'll look at that. Start, computer, go back to the C drive, double click, and the file I created is Department Records. And if you double click on it, that opens it up to two subfolders, Knitting Department and Sewing Department. And you can click on that. There's Knitting Quality Levels and Knitting Reports. And then inside of the reports, there's one report called Reporting. So you can see you can keep going down and down, storing your files, but you just do it in a way that makes you comfortable, in a way that you know how to find what you need. And that probably takes some practice. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. Why do we have permissions? Well, it adds security to the computer. It restricts entry of everyone into everything, and it gives controls to the administrative staff to allow or deny users access to different areas. Without these permissions, anybody in your plant would be able to access anything. You know, they could get into payroll files or information that maybe the plant lawyers had put on a drive, and you don't want everybody in things like that. So permissions would help keep everyone out of things that they're not supposed to be in, but give them permission to get into the ones that they need to do their job. Changing permissions. In the folders I created, you saw the two subfolders, knitting department and sewing department. Suppose we have a group of people that come into the plant, maybe auditors or something, and they need to see and be able to execute programs in the knitting department files, but they only need to see the files in the sewing department without executing or modifying anything in the sewing department. So let's go try to set that up. So we'll close down this and go back to our file in the C drive, department records. Okay, so here's our knitting department and sewing department. We'll start with knitting. We're going to highlight it, right click, go to properties. It opens up on the general tab. One thing you can see here is your attributes, read only and hidden, and there's some advanced things here, but we want to go on over to security, and we want to get this group A added in. So we're going to click on edit and then add, and instead of typing in group A, to make sure we get it right, we're going to click on advanced and find now, and that actually opens up a lot of different names, and there's group A. So I highlighted it and then click on OK. Okay, here's the name, and you want to check the name just to make sure, and then OK. And now we have four different, we did have three, now we have four different groups that are able to access the file. Group A that we just added, the system, as it added it, it went ahead and gave it read and execute, list folder contents, read, and we also want them to be able to write to that folder. Now, this is giving them what they will need to do their job, so we will apply and OK. So now if we want to go back and look, you can see the system has full control. That is the computer, the operating system. Roger has full control. Group A can read, execute, list folder contents, read and write, and that is all. And then of course the administrator has full rights. So we've got that part set up. Now we'll go to the sewing department, right click, properties, and opens up on the general tab. We're going to switch over to security, and we're going to edit and then add. And before we do this, I forgot to do this on the other one, but I just wanted to show you. This one actually has more users than the other one, but we have authenticated users, system, guest, administrators, and users. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to go through the steps here. We'll add and go to advanced, find now, and scroll down to group A, and we'll check that name and then OK. Okay, now we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see nothing was taken away, but one was added. And this one that was added, again, they gave them read and execute, list folder contents, and read. And that's a little bit more than we want them to have. So we're going to take these two checks off. We're only going to let them read. And now click on apply and OK. So I'm going to close this out, and we'll go back to the knitting department and just double check. You can see Group A can read and execute and read and write. And list folder contents. Okay. And then go to sewing department, security, and Group A can only read. They can open it up and look, but that's it. Okay, so close this down and back to our PowerPoint. Okay, now Group A should be able to view and execute files in the knitting folder, and they should not be able to, and they should be able to view the files but not change them in the sewing folder. And this is good. I mean, something could even happen accidental. They may not mean to change something in the sewing folder, but by restricting permissions, you don't have to worry about that, because they can't change anything, not even by accident. IT managers are required to set and monitor these permissions. It is good to practice these steps and become familiar with how to set them up. Now, let's suppose that Group A has gathered all the data they need and are preparing to leave your plant. You don't want to leave those permissions out there. For one reason, it will clutter the system up and can create confusion later, especially if you have lots of these, different things you create and then they're not being used anymore. You just want to get rid of them, because a year from now, are you going to remember why that was there? But the main reason is security. You don't want someone else to gain entry to those folders through that user group that's just sitting out there not being used. So let's go take care of the removal. Okay, back to the computer. C drive, department records, and we'll do knitting department first. Go back to properties and the security tab. And you can see here's Group A. Still there. Alright, we click on Edit, and now we're going to highlight Group A and just choose Remove. And apply. Okay. Now we're going to go to the sewing department and go to properties, security, edit, click on Group A and remove. And it's not going to let me because this object is inherited permissions from its parents. To remove guest, I didn't want to remove guest, I wanted to remove mine. And then I must have accidentally clicked on that one too as I came out of it. But as you can see, the one we wanted to get rid of is gone. And so I'm going to close that and exit that and back to our PowerPoint. And this has been my instructional video on changing permissions in files and folders. Thank you.